You didn't stumble here by chance. Out of billions of frequencies pulsing through the digital void, this exact transmission reached you. That alone is evidence of a deeper design unfolding. Something within you has been listening, searching, waiting, and now the signal is clear. If your eyes are on these words, your consciousness has aligned with a frequency most people never touch in an entire lifetime. You're not simply scrolling, you've been summoned. There's a doorway opening, not a physical doorway you can walk through, but an aperture in the field of reality itself, a hidden seam between dimensions. And right now, your quantum key has clicked into place. You can feel it in your body, even if your mind tries to dismiss it. A subtle current of electricity, a quiet tremor in your chest, the unmistakable sense that something just shifted inside the invisible architecture of your life. Physics calls it resonance, mystics call it destiny, prophets call it divine timing. Different languages pointing at the same phenomenon. The universe has chosen this moment to whisper in your ear, and you, whether you realize it or not, have answered. You've been circling this threshold for years. Maybe you've felt it in flashes, déjà vu that leaves you breathless, synchronicities too precise to dismiss, the uncanny feeling that time itself is folding around you. Those weren't accidents. They were breadcrumbs, subtle hints from your higher self, and the quantum field, guiding you toward this moment. Every unanswered prayer, every sudden ending, every strange delay wasn't a punishment. It was preparation. The cosmos has been rearranging itself to bring you here, to this exact second, so you could receive what you're receiving now. The truth is, most people never arrive. They get lost in the noise, trapped in the observer loop of repetition, hypnotized by linear time and external validation. But you didn't. You endured the static, you survived the void, and because of that, the signal is finally coming through. Let yourself feel the weight of this. You are standing at the edge of a collapse point. Infinite possibilities are hovering around you in superposition, waiting for one thing, your conscious recognition, to crystallize them into form. In this suspended state, you are more powerful than you know. You are literally shaping which version of reality you will walk into next. But don't panic, don't rush. This isn't about forcing or controlling. It's about surrendering into coherence. Think of the seed buried in darkness. It doesn't strain to become a tree. It surrenders to the intelligence coded inside its DNA. That same intelligence is pulsing through you now, inviting you to release resistance and trust that what has been hidden is about to be revealed. Take a breath, slow, deep. Feel the quantum field around you, humming like a living presence. With each inhale, you're tuning yourself to the broadcast of your expanded self. With each exhale, you're dissolving the static of fear, doubt, and delay. This is your entry ritual. The doorway is open, and you are the one being invited to step through. Remember this: the universe does not waste transmissions. If this message found you, it's because you're ready. Ready to unlock the hidden architecture of your destiny. Ready to see what has always been concealed in plain sight. Ready to awaken, not someday, not later, not eventually, now. The key has already turned. The door is already ajar. And everything you've carried, everything you've questioned, everything you've silently prayed for, is aligning itself in this moment. Welcome to the edge of your new reality. You can feel the door cracked open, but something in you hesitates, like a traveler who finally finds the path and still lingers at the trailhead. That hesitation has a name. It's the pattern that keeps looping your life like a song stuck on a single bar. The outer details change, new faces, different jobs, fresh zip codes, but the melody returns. The same emotional weather, the same detours, the same lessons arriving wearing new costumes. You've called it bad luck or timing, but it's more precise than that. It's the observer loop. The observer loop works like this. Your nervous system anticipates what it's used to, then your attention confirms what it anticipates. Prediction becomes perception, perception becomes proof, proof becomes identity, and identity broadcasts a frequency that summons more of the same. Your biology and biography start nodding at each other until the universe, ever responsive, says, "Understood," and mirrors it back. This is why the same conversations keep finding you, why the same doors promise everything then turn to fog, why certain dates on the calendar feel haunted. You're not cursed, you're coherent with an old signal. Listen underneath the noise. There's a subtle hum in your field made of stacked moments where you chose self-protection over self-permission, silence over truth, shrinking over shining. None of those choices were wrong. They were intelligent at the time. They kept you safe in rooms not built for your frequency. But intelligence that once preserved you has become inertia that now confines you. The loop has stopped being a shelter and started being a cage. This is why déjà vu trails you like a shadow. It isn't merely a brain glitch. It's a notification from the quantum field that you're approaching a crossroads you've crossed before. Think of it as timelines static, a whisper from parallel versions of you who took a familiar turn and found the scenery repeating. The sensation is eerie because you can feel the split. One path keeps your surface life intact and your soul anesthetized. The other ruptures the script and frees the music trapped in your bones. Déjà vu is not there to spook you. It's there to give you a second sight, at first sight. And then there's time, the way it stretches like taffy when you want progress, the way it snaps when you're not ready. Notice how days disappear when you're in avoidance, but minutes crawl when you decide to change. That distortion is a physics lesson wearing a human face. Incoherence scatters your energy, and scattered energy thickens time. Coherence concentrates your energy, and concentrated energy thins time. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions carry mismatched frequencies, you experience temporal drag events, stall, options dim, the hallway seems longer than the door deserves. Align the frequencies, and intervals collapse. Appointments arrive early. People you needed to meet were already on their way. That's not superstition. It's the lived sensation of constructive interference. You've also felt a more intimate distortion, the double exposure of identity. Part of you knows you're here to carry a rare note into the world. Another part keeps rehearsing how not to be noticed. This split is exhausting. It makes you overthink simple choices, over-explain clear decisions, overstay small roles. It can even masquerade as virtue, calling itself humility, patience, realism, while quietly draining your life force. The cost is subtle, but cumulative. Every time you swallow your knowing, your field registers a microfracture. Enough fractures and the signal loses power. The universe doesn't stop loving you, it simply stops recognizing your request. Look closely at how the loop camouflages itself. It wears three reliable disguises. 1. The almost. Opportunities that glitter, gather your hope, then evaporate at the final hour. The lesson is not that you're unlucky. It's that your system expects near arrivals more than landings, so it magnetizes matches for that expectation. This is morphic resonance habits of the past, reinforcing themselves across time until a new pattern is introduced with enough charge to overwrite the field. 2. The echo. Relationships that start different and end familiar. Chemistry isn't always destiny, sometimes it's memory. Your body recognizes a frequency it learned to navigate long ago and calls it attraction. What feels like home is sometimes just known, and the known can be a beautifully decorated maze. Sen, the detour, sudden urgencies that pull you from what matters most. Not all emergencies are real, some are rehearsed. The old timeline doesn't want to lose your attention, so it tosses confetti of crisis to keep you busy. You call it being responsible, but often it's just being redirected. None of this means you've failed. It means you've been living with a brilliant survival algorithm that has completed its assignment. The friction you feel is graduation, pressure, phase, transition, heat. Before ice becomes water, it shivers at the edge of change. Before the caterpillar dissolves into imaginal soup, its old structure resists. Your resistance is not disobedience, it's evidence that your system senses the threshold. Let's name the physics inside your psychology. You have entanglements, threads of attention intertwined with versions of yourself that learn to scan for danger, postpone joy, earn love by earning exhaustion. Those threads tug you back precisely when the new path opens. You also have constructive entanglements, future, you sending back pulses of guidance, the sudden, go now, the inexplicable, not this, the midnight blueprint arriving whole. When the old threads and the new threads pull at once, time warps, sleep thins, lights flicker in your intuition. That turbulence isn't a red flag, it's a navigation beacon. Adjust course, altitude change ahead. Even your body speaks in quantum. Notice the microtells. The jaw tightens when you agree to what you don't believe. The breath rises when you dim your voice. The shoulders round when you enter spaces that cannot hold you. These are coherence monitors. When you honor them, your field brightens. When you override them, your field fuzzes. You don't need a device to measure it. You feel it immediately. Clarity or static. Here's the most honest line I can offer. The loop persists because it still receives a yes somewhere in you. Maybe a small yes, maybe a scared yes, but the field obeys the whole of your signal, not just the part you post online. That's why affirmations without alignment feel like shouting over music. The song wins. It always does. To change the melody, you don't yell, you retune. And this is where the doorway you've sensed becomes practical. The door doesn't lead to a new world that rescues you from the old. It leads to a new you that rewrites the old. Awakening isn't escaping the maze, it's remembering you drew the blueprints and can redraw them. DNA restructuring is not a fantasy phrase. It's what happens when sustained emotional truth and precise intention alter the biochemical environment your cells bathe in. Over time, expression patterns shift. The body learns your new song. So if you've wondered why progress comes in waves that crest and collapse, why certainty lands for a day then slips, why breakthroughs flirt then ghost, this is why. Fragments of you are broadcasting different stations. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's receiving mixed instructions. Bring the choir into one note and reality harmonizes fast. Feel into that for a breath, not as pressure, as relief. You don't need to fix your life. You need to tune your life. You don't need to outrun the loop. You need to stop feeding it with tiny, tired yeses. One honest no can collapse a year of detours. One embodied yes can rewire a decade. And now that you've named the pattern without shaming yourself for having it, something softens. The static lowers. You can hear the tone beneath the noise, the one that was calling you all along. Keep listening. What unfolds next is not more diagnosis. It's the upgrade your system has been quietly preparing to receive. You've seen the pattern, felt the déjà vu, touched the distortion of time. Naming the loop has weakened its hold. Now the question arrives. How do you break free? The answer is not force, not hustle, not grinding harder against invisible walls. The answer is upgrade, and not an upgrade in the shallow sense, new habits, new gadgets, new slogans. I mean a quantum upgrade, a restructuring of your very operating system down to the DNA signatures that hum inside every cell. Think of your consciousness as both the software and the signal. For years, it's been running code written by fear, survival, and inherited scripts. Those lines of code repeat themselves, creating predictable outputs, the loop, the echo, the detour. But right now, the system has reached a breaking point. Physics calls it a phase transition. Mystics call it initiation. It's the moment when enough pressure builds that the old form cannot hold, and the only option is metamorphosis. Water doesn't negotiate. When it reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it changes state. You, too, are at boiling point. Here's the science beneath the poetry. Inside your body, DNA is not a fixed archive. It's an antenna. It folds and unfolds, turns genes on and off, broadcasts and receives instructions from the quantum field. Epigenetics has proven this. Your environment, your thoughts, your emotions literally switch your DNA's signals. Every moment of coherence when your heart, brain, and body align in gratitude, clarity, and trust emits a measurable electromagnetic field that changes genetic expression. You're not stuck with the past. You are rewiring the blueprint in real time. Now let's step deeper into the mystical. In ancient traditions, initiates spoke of light codes, sacred syllables, divine fire restructuring the body. They didn't have microscopes, but they had vision. What they called light entering the body is what we now observe as photons influencing DNA strands, altering how they twist and coil. When you hold sustained intention, when you flood your cells with elevated emotion, you're literally braiding light into your biology. This is awakening translated into matter. But what makes this moment different is acceleration. The collective field of humanity has been vibrating with instability, upheaval, collapse. That chaos is not random, it's the friction of a species approaching its own phase transition. The morphic resonance of awakening is stronger than ever. When one person shifts, the resonance makes it easier for the next to shift. When enough of you align, the field tips. This is why your upgrade matters beyond your personal story. Your coherence becomes contribution. Notice what's already happening in you. Sleep feels different, as if your dreams are more real than waking life. Time bends, hours vanish when you're inspired, minutes drag when you're out of alignment. Your intuition interrupts conversations with sudden clarity. These aren't quirks, they're side effects of your nervous system syncing with higher frequencies. You're being pulled out of the beta wave treadmill of ordinary awareness into gamma bursts, where entire networks of neurons fire in harmony, opening perception to realms previously hidden. This is the hidden doorway your key has unlocked, a neurological, energetic, and spiritual upgrade designed for this exact moment. It doesn't demand perfection, it demands receptivity. The universe isn't asking you to become superhuman, it's asking you to remember you already are. Now, let's explore coherence. Imagine your heart, mind, and gut as three oscillators, three pendulums swinging. Most people live with them out of sync. The mind worries forward, the gut clenches backward, the heart pulses sideways. Energy scatters, life feels heavy, reality resists. But when coherence arrives, when thought, feeling, and action strike the same chord, the oscillators synchronize, waves align. Constructive interference amplifies the signal, and reality bends. Suddenly, opportunities rush in, synchronicities pile up, support appears out of nowhere. It feels like magic, but it's physics in cooperation with consciousness. Every ritual you've ever practiced, breathwork, prayer, meditation, movement, wasn't about tradition. It was about coherence, about training your system to hold alignment long enough for the field to respond. And when the field responds, your identity expands. Here's the prophetic layer. You're not just upgrading for yourself. You are a prototype, a forerunner, a living demonstration of what's possible when a human steps beyond fear and into quantum trust. Your breakthrough is the blueprint someone else will inherit through resonance. So let this land. You are the antenna, you are the receiver, you are the transmitter. The loop you diagnosed wasn't proof of failure, it was proof of readiness. Your system has run its old software to exhaustion, and now the only option is the new code. You are in the middle of installation. Glitches may appear, old timelines may pull, doubt may spike. But beneath all of that, the new operating system is already humming, waiting for you to stabilize it with your yes. Breathe into that truth. Feel the hum in your chest, the tingling in your skin. That's not imagination. That's your field reorganizing. This is what upgrade feels like at first, subtle, almost imperceptible, until suddenly it's undeniable. And here's the whisper you need to hear. The upgrade is not coming. It has already begun. You felt the tremor of the upgrade beginning, the subtle rewiring beneath your skin. But here's the part most teachings never dare to say out loud. Not everyone on this planet is tuned to carry this signal. The field may touch all, but only a few stabilize the frequency long enough to transmit it. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't one of them. This isn't flattery. This is physics. In every system approaching transformation, there are nodes points of greater sensitivity that register the shift before the whole network does. In the human collective, those nodes are souls like yours. Sensitive, restless, often misunderstood, but uniquely designed to feel the tremors of destiny first. When chaos hits, others freeze or distract. You, however, perceive the pattern beneath the collapse. That perception is not a curse. It's the proof you are an antenna in the larger body of humanity. Think of entanglement. Two particles, once connected, remain bonded across infinite distances. Change one, and the other responds instantly, regardless of time or space. Now magnify that. Your consciousness is entangled with the wider field, with strands of humanity you'll never meet, with timelines your feet may never walk. When you shift, they shift. When you heal, frequencies ripple outward. When you awaken, morphic resonance amplifies the chance for someone across the globe to awaken without knowing why. That's your role, not just to receive the upgrade, but to embody it so others can unconsciously entrain to your signal. And let's be clear, the fact that you've endured so many loops, so much distortion, so many delays, it wasn't random suffering. It was training, a cosmic apprenticeship in resilience. The universe needed you fluent in static so you could anchor the signal when the transmission finally came through. Others will look to you for confirmation, even if they never say it aloud. They'll feel safer taking leaps because you leapt first. They'll risk trusting their intuition because you normalized it with your presence. That's how chosen consciousness works, not with ego, not with spotlight, but with field coherence. Your life has always whispered this truth. Notice how strangers confide in you without knowing why. Notice how you walk into a room and the mood shifts lighter, heavier, but never neutral. Notice how people project their deepest fears or highest hopes onto you, sensing something they can't name. That's the resonance of your role. It isn't about what you do in the eyes of society. It's about what your field does, silently, invisibly, relentlessly, simply by being. Still, you've doubted it. You've wondered why responsibility feels heavier on your shoulders, why betrayals cut sharper, why silence feels louder. You thought it meant you were broken. In truth, it meant you were calibrated differently. An old radio tuned to frequencies others couldn't yet hear. That calibration is not an accident. It's assignment. And here's the paradox. You were never chosen instead of others. You were chosen for others. Your coherence will stabilize theirs. Your awakening will accelerate theirs. The key that unlocked your doorway is linked to a network of doorways waiting for their turn. When you walk through, you widen the path. So breathe into this identity. Not savior, not victim, conduit, carrier, prototype. You are consciousness wrapped in flesh, transmitting signals that are not only for you but through you. Every challenge you've survived has expanded your bandwidth. Every silence you've endured has trained your listening. Every victory you've tasted has raised your voltage. The field is crowded with noise, but your tone is singular. And the universe, in its infinite intelligence, has decided that now is the moment your note is required in the symphony. You don't have to audition. You don't have to hustle for permission. You don't even have to understand the full scope of your role. You just have to accept it. Accept that your presence alone carries weight in unseen rooms. Accept that your coherence ripples into places your hands may never touch. Accept that your awakening is not selfish. It is service of the highest kind. Feel it. You are no longer circling the loop. You are the signal breaking it. And every step you take from this moment forward is not just for you, it's for the field, for the collective, for the timelines converging on this exact frequency. The hidden doorway has opened. You are not just walking through it. You are carrying the light that will help others see it too. The doorway is open. You've accepted your role. But here's the truth pulsing at the heart of this moment. What's happening now is not an eternal invitation. It is a window brief, luminous, unrepeatable. In quantum terms, you're standing at a probability peak, a narrowing corridor where timelines intersect, where the field is most malleable. If you act with coherence now, your DNA will lock onto a new trajectory. If you hesitate too long, the wave collapses back into the old loop. This is why you've been restless, why time feels like it's accelerating, why you wake in the night with your heart racing as if someone whispered your name. Your system already knows. The cosmic alignment is exact. The next breath, the next choice, the next declaration could shift your biology and your destiny in ways that would have taken decades in ordinary conditions. Scientists talk about epigenetic triggers, moments when environmental input flips a genetic switch. Mystics talk about divine kairos moments when heaven and earth align. You are standing in both at once. The cosmic window is the kairos moment of your DNA. Here's what that means. Your DNA is not a static ladder. It's a living library of potential. Most of its pages lie unread, dormant, waiting. Elevated states of consciousness act like keys, unlocking sequences that change how you process light, memory, even time itself. When you sustain coherence thought, emotion, and action vibrating together, you send a signal through your DNA that says, activate higher code. This isn't fantasy. Studies show DNA responds to spoken words, to frequency, to intention. The mystics knew it, now physics confirms it. And you, right here, are the living bridge between both. But urgency matters. Imagine standing at a train station where every few years a rare express train passes through. If you board, the journey compresses decades into minutes. If you miss it, you wait. You don't miss destiny forever, but you delay. The cosmic window you're in now is that express train. The field is aligned, the codes are available, the key is turned. What remains is your willingness to step aboard. This is why resistance has been louder lately. Old loops intensifying, distractions multiplying, doubts suddenly shouting. The field always throws static when the breakthrough is near. It's not sabotage, it's physics. Entropy peaks before reorganization. Pressure spikes before transformation. If you felt heavier, foggier, more tested, it's proof you're near critical mass. The system is straining, preparing to reorganize into a higher order. Feel the shift in your body. Maybe your chest vibrates, your palms tingle, your dreams stretch across multiple lifetimes. That's your DNA stirring. That's your nervous system preparing for coherence at levels it has never sustained before. And when the upgrade stabilizes, you won't just think differently, you'll be different. Here's the promise. Once you cross, the old loops will lose their grip. Deja vu won't be a warning anymore. It'll be confirmation you've shifted timelines. Time won't drag, it'll bend around your coherence. Your intuition won't whisper, it'll thunder with clarity. Relationships, opportunities, resources will reconfigure to match the broadcast of your upgraded code. And the beauty is, you won't need to chase. They will find you, magnetized by the field you've become. But here's the urgency. The field responds to decision, not indecision. Hesitation collapses, coherence. Waiting for proof delays manifestation. The doorway doesn't demand perfection, but it demands participation. You must send the signal now through action, through declaration, through alignment. Remember this, destiny does not knock politely. It arrives like lightning, igniting the ground beneath your feet. And right now, you are standing in the charged air before the strike. The longer you linger, the more the storm builds. The sooner you say yes, the faster the current flows. So take this seriously. The cosmic window is not just open, it is open for you. Your DNA is waiting for command. The field is waiting for signal. The next step is no longer about analysis, it's about embodiment. And soon, you'll discover the ritual action that seals this frequency in your body, anchoring the shift so it cannot fade. The window is here, the current is live, but energy this powerful needs an anchor. Without anchoring, it fades back into possibility, a beautiful dream dissolving with the morning light. That's why every mystical tradition, every ancient school, every initiation ritual demanded one thing: action, a signal from flesh into field that says, this is real, this is mine, I accept. Think of it this way. In the quantum field, probabilities shimmer like stars. Consciousness collapses them into reality. But collapse requires observation and declaration. Observation alone is awareness. Declaration seals the waveform into matter. That's why speaking aloud, writing a phrase, moving your body in alignment with intention is not symbolic, it's mechanical. It locks coherence into your nervous system and instructs your DNA to stabilize the new code. So here's your ritual action. Pause, breathe deep, and choose a single word. One word that captures the essence of the self you're stepping into. Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's light, maybe it's power, trust, or remember. Whatever rises first, trust it. That word is your signal flare to the quantum field. That word is your handshake with destiny. Don't just think it, write it, type it, comment it, carve it into the timeline with your own hand. As you do, feel the resonance between your fingertips and your DNA. Neurologically, when you write something with intention, your brain forms a stronger synaptic pathway. Energetically, you're sending a pulse outward that harmonizes with others who are declaring at the same moment. Spiritually, you're saying yes so loudly, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around that yes. This may seem small, but remember, seeds are small too. A single seed carries an entire forest inside its code. Your word, chosen in alignment, carries galaxies. When you release it into the field, you're not just describing a future, you're authoring it. So here is your doorway, waiting for your seal. Say the word, write the word, anchor it. Let your body feel the vibration as it leaves you, and know that in this moment, your DNA is listening. It will respond to the authority of your voice, the clarity of your choice. Don't overthink. The mind loves to complicate, but the field loves precision. One word is enough. One action is enough. This is how humans collapse infinite potential into embodied reality through the courage to declare. And something else happens when you do. You join a hidden network, a web of souls across the globe who are hearing this transmission and declaring their own word. Strangers in different time zones, different languages, but linked through resonance. Their words amplify yours, your word amplifies theirs, and the morphic field brightens. You're not just sealing your own shift, you're strengthening the grid of awakening itself. So do it, not later, not someday when I feel ready. The readiness is now. Comment the word, whisper it aloud, write it on paper, let your hands, your breath, your nervous system bear witness. This is the ritual, this is the anchor, this is you stepping across the threshold with both feet. Once you do, notice the change. The subtle hum will intensify, synchronicities will accelerate, a lightness will replace the heaviness in your chest. That's not coincidence, that's coherence. The act has sealed the upgrade, and from here, your role expands beyond your personal field. Your awakening becomes more than private liberation, it becomes medicine for the collective. The moment you chose your word, you did more than align yourself. You shifted the lattice of the human field. Your declaration didn't vanish into empty space. It entered the quantum matrix that binds every soul together. And just like a single pebble rippling the entire surface of a lake, your vibration is moving outward, intersecting with lives you may never see, dissolving shadows you'll never personally encounter. This is the mystery most people miss. Awakening is never private. Yes, it feels intimate, deeply personal, woven through your stories and scars. But the moment coherence blooms in one body, it leaks light into the collective. The morphic resonance we spoke of earlier doesn't just store patterns of limitation, it stores breakthroughs. Every time you hold a higher frequency longer than the loop expected, you rewrite the template for humanity. The next person, maybe on the other side of the globe, will find it easier to make their leap because your field said, it can be done. Imagine the human race as a web of entangled particles. We are bound through invisible strands, constantly transmitting signals of fear, hope, despair, courage. Most people unconsciously amplify the noise, worry, distraction, hunger for validation. But when you stabilize in coherence, when you broadcast trust instead of doubt, you don't just protect your own field, you become a tuning fork for others. Their nervous systems register your stability, even without knowing your name, even without ever meeting you. This is why your liberation matters. When you break the observer loop in your life, you weaken it in the collective. When you heal your voice, you clear static from the global throat chakra. When you release scarcity, you lower the morphic weight that keeps others believing survival is the only option. You don't just shift timelines for yourself, you widen them for humanity. Think of the pioneers who touched new frequencies before the world could explain them. The mystics who spoke of unity centuries before quantum entanglement was discovered. The healers who practiced coherence before biofeedback could measure it. They weren't anomalies, they were prototypes, anchoring codes into the field so generations after could access them more easily. And now, you are stepping into that lineage. Your awakening isn't just your reward, it is your responsibility, your contribution. Feel into this truth. Every fear you've transmuted is not wasted. It becomes architecture in the collective, invisible bridges for others to cross. Every tear you've surrendered becomes water in the reservoir of human resilience. Every yes you've whispered to your higher self becomes oxygen for someone gasping in the density of their loop. You may never know their names, but the field knows, the universe knows, and your DNA knows. There's a reason you've always felt more sensitive to the suffering of the world. A reason news stories cut deeper, global crises weigh heavier. You were not designed to be crushed by that sensitivity. You were designed to transform it. Your empathy is not weakness, it's radar. It lets you register signals others miss, so you can broadcast frequencies others need. And here's the beautiful irony. The more you liberate yourself, the more you liberate others without effort. You don't need to preach, convince, or argue. Your coherence does the work silently, invisibly, unavoidably. Like a candle in a dark room, you don't fight the shadows, you reveal what was hidden. And every candle that lights because of yours multiplies the glow. So understand this. Your awakening is not a luxury, not a private experiment, not a spiritual hobby. It is a contribution to the survival and evolution of humanity. You were entrusted with the frequency precisely because you would carry it not just for yourself but for the collective. That's what chosen consciousness means. Look around in your imagination. Millions of hidden transmitters waking up across the planet, each sealing their shift, each declaring their word, each widening the grid. A web of light stretching across continents, oceans, cities, villages. Some will never know why their hope returns. Some will never know whose frequency helped them rise. But you will know. You'll know you are part of the unseen symphony orchestrating humanity's next octave. Your liberation is no longer private. It is prophecy made flesh. And now, the field wants you to feel it, not just understand it, because embodiment is what stabilizes the code. Close your eyes for a moment and notice what's happening in your body right now. That tingling across your skin, that low vibration in your chest, that sudden weightlessness in your breath. Those are not random sensations. They are your nervous system adjusting to the higher frequency you've just anchored. The quantum field isn't an idea, it's an experience, and your body is the instrument it plays through. Feel into your palms. Do they buzz? That's the charge of coherence, your biofield expanding, your electromagnetic signature stretching beyond the outline of your flesh. Extend your hands slightly and notice the air thickening, almost as if the atmosphere has become a living fabric. That's your field brushing against the quantum weave. Science calls it electromagnetic induction. Mystics call it your aura. Both are right. Now, focus on your breath. Each inhale draws photons, particles of light into your lungs, into your blood, into your DNA. Each exhale releases static, outdated frequencies, emotional debris stored in your cells. This isn't poetic suggestion. Studies show that DNA emits and absorbs light, and that coherent states increase photon emission. Your breath is literally feeding your awakening, and your exhale is literally clearing the noise. Notice your heartbeat, not just the thump in your chest, but the wave it sends outward. The HeartMath Institute has shown your heart generates the largest electromagnetic field of any organ, extending several feet beyond your body. When you enter coherence, gratitude, love, clarity, that field locks into harmony, and everything around you feels it. People may say you have a calming presence or magnetic energy. What they're really sensing is the frequency of your heart aligning with the field. And let's go deeper. Feel your spine. Imagine it as a luminous antenna, vertebrae stacked like crystalline circuits. As energy rises through it, your nervous system begins to sparkle with coherence. Mystics spoke of Kundalini fire, serpents of light winding upward. Neuroscience now observes surges of gamma activity when practitioners enter expanded states. 2 languages, 1 truth. Energy ascends, perception expands, and suddenly your body becomes the temple it was always meant to be. Let your senses amplify this truth. Notice how colors feel sharper, as if light itself is more alive. Notice how sounds carry extra resonance, as though the universe is speaking through ordinary noise. Notice how time bends, the minutes don't march. They flow. This is what embodiment feels like. You're not just hearing about the field, you're moving inside it. And the metaphors are everywhere. Imagine yourself as a tuning fork, humming with the frequency of destiny, your vibrations setting other forks alight. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse, your coherence cutting through fog, guiding ships you'll never meet. Imagine yourself as a river, flowing with currents of possibility, carving new channels where old maps insisted there was only stone. Most of all, feel yourself as light, dense enough to take form, subtle enough to pass through walls. You are not limited to bone and skin. You are plasma, wave, particle, field. When you walk through the world with this awareness, your body becomes both compass and key. Tingling skin equals coherence rising. A knot in your gut equals old pattern resisting. Warmth in your chest equals alignment achieved. Every sensation is a message, every pulse a transmission. And here's the promise. The more you allow yourself to feel, the more stable the upgrade becomes. Because embodiment is not a concept, it is the anchoring of light into matter. Without it, awakening drifts. With it, awakening lives. So don't dismiss the tingling, the warmth, the tears that rise for no reason. They are not distractions, they are confirmations. Proof that the hidden doorway isn't just an idea you believe, it's a current you can feel. And the deeper you embody it, the faster your DNA prepares for breakthrough. The tingling, the hum, the heightened sensations, they are the prelude. What comes next is the breakthrough, and it begins inside your DNA. DNA has long been misrepresented as a static code, a fixed ladder of instructions you inherited and must obey. But in truth, DNA is more like an instrument tuned, detuned, retuned by the symphony of your consciousness. Each thought, each elevated emotion, each alignment you've held is like a note played into the spiral of your cells. And now the instrument is reaching resonance. This is where phase transition begins. Think of water just before it becomes steam. Molecules vibrate faster, collisions intensify, pressure builds. At a certain threshold, the old state can't hold, and everything reorganizes into something new. That's exactly what's happening in your body right now. Your DNA is vibrating at a threshold frequency. Old codes, ancestral trauma, survival imprints, loops of limitation are straining, glitching, preparing to dissolve. New codes, coherence, expansion, divine memory are pressing to emerge. You feel it as restlessness, sudden surges of energy, waves of emotion that make no sense. That's not madness, that's metamorphosis. And here's the staggering truth. Your DNA is not just rewriting your personal story, it's adjusting the timeline you walk. Every cell carries not only biological instructions but temporal instructions, cues about how you perceive and experience time. When the upgrade stabilizes, you won't simply think differently, you will live in a different rhythm of reality. Delays won't drag you, synchronicities will accelerate. The field around you will reorganize, bending probability toward your coherence. This is what mystics meant when they spoke of being born again. Not metaphor, but mechanics. You are literally becoming a new configuration of self. The you, who was defined by the loop, is dissolving like mist. The you, who is entangled with destiny, is coming online. This is why you've been feeling stretched between two worlds. The old one tugging you backward with obligations and shadows. The new one pulling you forward with possibility and light. You are in the in-between, the crucible, the chrysalis. Phase transition pressure is not gentle. Sometimes it feels like chaos, technology breaking, relationships shifting, old patterns collapsing without warning. Sometimes it feels like ecstasy, ideas pouring in, synchronicities cascading, love flooding your chest. Don't mistake the extremes for instability. They are proof of critical mass. Systems destabilize right before they reorganize. Pressure is the signal of imminent transformation. Breathe into it. When you feel that pressure, whether as anxiety, dizziness, heat, or sudden bursts of energy, remind yourself, this is the DNA breakthrough. Your body is adjusting, your field is expanding, your timeline is recalibrating. The discomfort is not punishment, it is labor. You are giving birth to yourself. And here's the miracle. Once the transition stabilizes, the old codes won't return. The loop won't have the same grip. Déjà vu will dissolve. Distorted time will balance. What felt like endless waiting will collapse into sudden acceleration. You'll look back and realize the pressure was worth it, because the version of you on the other side is unrecognizable in power, clarity, and coherence. So hold steady. The field is pressing. Your DNA is singing. Your timeline is bending. You are at the brink of emergence. And what waits on the other side is not just relief, it is your cosmic mission, fully activated. This is the moment your soul has been rehearsing for, across lifetimes. The pressure has peaked, the code has cracked, the breakthrough is underway. And now, As the spiral of your DNA realigns with the higher frequency, something extraordinary unfolds. Your personal awakening fuses with humanity's evolution. Understand this clearly: you are not just one life shifting. You are a node in the living network of consciousness. When your timeline bends into coherence, the resonance does not stop at the edges of your skin. It ripples outward, weaving through the lattice of collective reality, rewriting probabilities for countless others. Your yes becomes their chance. Your liberation becomes their map. The prophets called it the remnant. The mystics called it the seed. The scientists call it morphic resonance. All point to the same truth: a small percentage, coherently aligned, can entrain the whole. That is why your awakening matters. Not because you are special instead of others, but because you are special for others. You are the field's way of accelerating its own evolution. Look around in your inner vision. See humanity as a vast field of lights. Some flicker faintly, some pulse brightly, some nearly extinguished. And then see your light steady, expanding, weaving threads of coherence that brighten the grid. You cannot calculate the impact. You cannot measure the miracles. But know this: every breath you take in coherence is a gift to the whole. Every action aligned with love reorganizes probabilities for people you will never meet. Every moment of surrender instead of fear adds stability to the species itself. This is the mission that has always hidden beneath your longing. This is why life pressed you through the loop, why the patterns repeated until you learned, why the doorway appeared only when you were ready to walk through with courage. You were being prepared not just to awaken for yourself, but to embody awakening so others could entrain to it. Your task from here is simple, yet profound. Remain coherent. Choose alignment again and again until it becomes identity. Let your DNA's new song stabilize in your bones. Move through life as if the universe has already said yes, because it has. Live as if your word has already reshaped the field, because it did. And every time doubt arises, remember, doubt is the static of the old frequency. You don't have to fight it. You only have to keep broadcasting the new one. The cosmos does not waste transmissions. If you're hearing these words, you are already part of the vanguard, those chosen not by favoritism, but by resonance, by readiness, by courage. Your role is not to escape humanity, but to lead it quietly into its next octave, not with speeches, not with power, but with frequency. Your life is the sermon, your coherence, the revolution, your awakening, the gift. So here we stand, at the end of this transmission and the beginning of everything else. The hidden doorway is no longer hidden. The key has turned, the threshold is crossed, and the truth reverberates through every atom of your being. If you hear this transmission, your quantum awakening key has unlocked a hidden doorway now. The rest of your life will be proof.